Hello friends, welcome to my channel Eccentric Learning. I hope you have gone through the last two videos of time, speed and distance where I have covered the basic concept of time, speed and distance and the concept of average speed along with some word problems. If you haven't gone through those videos till now, the link has been given in the description box. Please go through it. Also, if you like my videos, then do subscribe my channel and also share with your friends. In today's video, we are going to learn the concept of relative speed and boats and streams. And in the next video, we'll be doing some word problems based on these concepts. So let us start with today's video. Relative speed can be simply defined as the speed of one moving body as observed from the second moving body. For example, say if there are two cars, C1 and C2. The car C1 say is moving at a speed of 40 km per hour and the car C2 is moving at a speed of say 50 km per hour. So that means in 1 hour the car C1 would be covering a distance of 40 km, whereas the car C2 would be covering a distance of 50 km. So we can say that in the first hour the car C2 would be 10 km ahead of the car C1. Again, for the second hour, the car C1 would be covering again 40 kilometers and the car C2 would be covering again a distance of 50 kilometers. So after 2 hours, the car C2 would be ahead of the car C1 by 20 kilometers. In a similar way, for the third hour, if I see the car C1 would be covering 40 kilometers and the car C2 would be covering 50 kilometers. So we can see that every hour the car C2 is ahead of the car C1 by 10 kilometers. So we can say that the relative speed between these two cars or the speed of car C2 as observed from the car C1 would be simply 10 km per hour. In this case, I have considered both these cars are traveling in the same direction. So when the cars are traveling in the same direction, the relative speed between these two cars would be simply the difference of the speeds between these two cars. So that would be 50 minus 40. But let us assume that these cars C1 and C2 are traveling in the opposite direction. Let us assume that the car C1 is traveling in the right direction with a speed of 40 km per hour. So in 1 hour, the car C1 would be covering a distance of 40 km. And let us assume that the car C2 is traveling in the left direction with a speed of 50 km per hour. So in 1 hour, the car C2 would be covering a distance of 50 km. So in the second hour, the car C1 would be again covering a distance of 40 km and the car C2 would be covering a distance of 50 km. So after 1 hour, the distance between these two cars was 90 kilometers and after 2 hours, the distance between these two cars was 180 kilometers. In a similar way, if I check for the third hour, so the car C1 would be covering a distance of 40 kilometers and the car C2 would be covering a distance of 50 kilometers. So after 3 hours, the distance between these two cars would be simply 270 kilometers. So we can say that every hour the cars C1 and C2 are getting apart by 90 kilometers. So that means every hour they would be away from each other by 90 kilometers. So we can say that the relative speed between these two cars would be simply 90 km per hour, which is simply the sum of the speeds of these two cars. So we can say that when two bodies are moving in the same direction, then the relative speed between them would be simply the difference of the speeds. And when they're moving in the opposite direction, then the relative speed between the cars would be simply the sum of their speeds. Now, say I want to write this in a generic way, then we can say that when two objects with speeds x and y, where x is greater than y, are moving in same direction, then the relative speed would be simply the difference of their speeds, that is x minus y. And when they are traveling in opposite direction, then the relative speed would be simply the sum of these speeds, that is x plus y. So now let us see the concept of boats and stream. Suppose there is a river and there is a boat. The river will have its own stream or current. Let us assume that the river is flowing in this direction with a speed of say y kmph, and the boat is moving also in the same direction as the current, and let us assume that the speed of the boat is say x kmph. So this y is the speed of the current or the speed of stream, and this x kmph is the speed of boat. Now, when the boat is moving in the same direction of the current will help the boat to move forward. So that speed is called as the downstream speed, that is the speed of boat with the stream, which is given by the speed of boat in still water plus the speed of stream. So in this case, this would be simply x plus y. Whereas suppose the current is in the right direction and the boat is say flowing in this direction. So in this case, the current of the river will oppose the boat to move forward. So that speed is called as the upstream speed. That is the speed of boat against the stream, which is given by the speed of boat in still water minus the speed of stream. So in this case, this would be simply x minus y, where x is the speed of boat in still water and y is the speed of stream. Now, if we denote the downstream speed as u, so in that case, u would be x plus y. And if we denote the upstream speed as v, then v would be x minus y, where x would be speed of boat in still water and y would be the speed of stream. Now, if I solve these two equations, I'd be getting the value of x and y in terms of u and v, which would be x would be equal to u plus v by 2 and y would be equal to u minus v by 2. That is, the speed of boat in still water would be half of the sum of the downstream speed and upstream speed, and the speed of stream would be half of the difference between the downstream speed and upstream speed. We can use these formulas directly whenever we need to find the speed of boat in still water and the speed of stream, and the downstream speed and the upstream speed has been given to us. So that's it for today's video, in which we have learned the concept of relative speed and boats and streams. And in the next video, we'll be doing some word problems based on these concepts. I hope you have learned something in today's video, but if you have any confusion, you can watch the video again, and still if you have any doubts, you can put it in the comment box. I will try to answer each one of your queries. So if you like my videos, then do subscribe my channel, also share with your friends. I'll see you all in my next video. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing, and keep growing. Thank you.